Okay. Remember to take the glue off, or the tape off. Now once that's clear and clean, we can put the top veneer on. As I mentioned before, you could put the top veneer on when you put the bottom veneer, but depending on the veneer you're using, if you're using high figure, if you remember, I've got this beautiful piece of walnut that I'm actually going to have on the top. This is pretty bony, and which means it can be brittle and the grain goes all over the place with that fiddleback. You can, when you're doing that mitre, sometimes tear out a bit of the top veneer if it's not glued down properly. That's why I always do the bottom, prepare it, then put the veneer on. As always, there's a right side and a wrong side. You can see that. I can bend that fairly well. That's the side I'm gluing down. If I try and do that side, that's as far as I could bend it. Whereas the other way, I'll bend that way. So that's the side I put down. Mark this with the pencil. Now I know this is the downside. And I've got a choice. I can either go a dark or a light. So I think I'll go dark, but I'll go at this end. So I've said before, when you're cutting veneer, don't try and do it in just one go. You see how easy that comes away with a couple of strokes? Now around the nose, pretty happy with that. A couple of clamping calls again. And again, I like hide glue, but if you won't, use PVA or whatever glue you're used to, or whatever glue works for you. I'm just going to pop that in a vise. And tighten it up. It's an idea too, if you do what I just did there, leave it in the vise for about as long as I've left it in there, which is only about 30 seconds. Pull it out and have a look, because sometimes you can put something in the vise like that, tighten it up, and it will slip. And then when you take your job out, you'll find the veneer's actually skewed onto the substrate and you've got to peel it off. So I'll show you what I mean. See what I mean right there? This edge has slipped over past there. Put it back. And that should be fine now. All right, let's see if this one's dry. Which it is. Now what we've got to do with this one is dock the ends off. Now we have to run this on a saw and cut along there. And you've got options. You could use a table saw, you could use a docking saw, you could use a bandsaw, you could use a handsaw. I think in episode 1 I said I was going to use a table saw, which I'll do. And I've allowed 3mm kerf for that to go through there, so it's going to be about 19mm when I'm finished. The other thing I've just noticed too, I said I was going to clean the glue out if there was any spread that came when I clamped it up, and I forgot, and I've just noticed down there's a little bit of glue that's come through. Now it might not be a big deal, you might want to leave it there, but if you do want to clean that out in there, here's a couple of options. One, you can get a chisel and make sure it's sharp, and then just gently scratch it and it'll come off like that. The other thing is, if you've got a Stanley or Veritas or whatever, cordless router I think they call them, what's it, 71, you can use that. If you find that you can't quite get the depth that you need, what you've got to do, you see it's got a step in there. If you take that off, You can then turn it over the other way, and that'll give you an extra 1/4 inch or so. Just enough clearance to get down there and get that glue. There you go, we just got the rest of that glue out. So, neat little trick if you get stuck with getting glue out of corners or whatever. Use the old 71s. If you've got a sliding miter box, just set it up to 60 degrees, then line it up so the centre of the blade will cut through the centre of the web we've got in there. And there you have it, 2 halves. Before we can go any further, we've now got to veneer these areas in here to match up with the veneer that's going to go on the outside. I did mention earlier on, I think, this is a pretty involved project, so that's why it's taken more than 1 episode or 2 episodes. It really is involved. And have it in the same orientation. So if your long grain is going to go around the box, have long grain going along here. Place it on there, and with a pencil, if you like, just roughly draw the shape. There we have 2 bits roughly drawn there. And just cut those out and glue them straight onto there. Pop some paper down. Try not to get glue up in there if you can. If you can't avoid it, you can clean it out later on. As I said, the best way I've found to clamp this is on the end of my bench, like that, and just put a clamp right on that corner. Now do the same to this bit. And for this one, have a piece of scrap either side, and then just hold that down. The other way, if you want, you can use contact cement if that's too complicated. Now I'm going to let those dry, and to me it's an ideal time to go and have a cup of coffee. So I'll see you after I've had a caffeine break. Well, I've gone and had a coffee, which was very, very nice, and I've realised there's still a lot more to do on this project, so there'll be another episode. So in the meantime, this is Steve pulling the shed door down and saying remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe and enjoy your woodwork, and I look forward to seeing you in the workshop very, very soon. Bye for now.